Yeah, we got a couple minutes here. I'm just gonna get the cast started. If you guys want to join or whatever, feel free. I'll get it fired up here in about 1 minute. I wish I should put some music on or something like, dee 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 dee. Made some adjustments to some settings inside of OBS, and I think that I got it figured out for sound and volume. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm pushing like the range of bands of orange right now. I think it might be my microphone, which is like right here. It's just not like loud enough. Maybe I've got the gain turned up on it too. So here's hoping that it checks. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name is Tim. This is the Corvus Cast, the official podcast, not podcast, video cast of Corvus Saber Foundry. And that's where the host isn't particularly attractive, the jokes aren't funny, and we just talk about made up crap anyways. Tonight's special is pretty boring, actually. It's been a heck of a week, and we just got like 8.5 inches of snow in my area, and I'm pretty tired. Today I went and spent a lot of time doing snow blowing stuff, and so just a little on the tired side. So trying to keep myself awake while I talk to you guys, and I didn't get a chance to take a shower yet, so I'm all stinky. Hey, what's up, Ambers? Nice to see you in the chat. Glad that you could join us. I'm going to take an opportunity to rep the Discord. If you guys are joining me and you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Discord, come check out the Discord. It's the place where I think I've said it before. It's easiest for people to communicate with me directly. I usually frequent the Discord over the course of the day, and just engage with everybody a lot easier through Discord than more formal discussions. And I think that it makes it feel a little bit more like a collective as opposed to just me being an inventor talking to everybody kind of thing, like business wise, I guess, or like or a CEO or something talking to someone. But the Discord, yeah, I love the Discord. It's a lot of fun. And actually, now that you talk about it, I'm actually getting ready to transition the Discord over to community, and I hope that you can hear me now better because you were having problems hearing me. So I have all the gain and everything turned up tonight, so you should be able to hear me. And I've tried to talk louder today because in the past I think that I've talked a little quiet, maybe. And so if you guys hear things, extra things in the room, like my air conditioning unit is right behind me. Yeah, my HVAC is like right behind me on this wall, and it's currently running right now, so you might hear some din. Noise. I don't have really great sound canceling in the room, and there's probably a little bit of an echo. And then my kids playing up above me in the den, they like to bounce around and bebop a lot, and the dog is running around. So it's busy. And I also changed the frames per second for the video, so I think that this is a little bit smoother, and it might be giving you guys a little bit better resolution. I'm not sure. Hopefully. Here's hoping. Anyways, like I was saying, if you're not in the Discord, you should come join the Discord. Come check us out. Oh, that's awesome. I'm really happy about that. If you're not in the Discord, you should come join the Discord. We talk about a lot of things, and the designs that you see and have come to see come out from Corvus Saber Foundry, a lot of them are refined inside of the Discord. So if you have something to say and you got some Saber things that you want to do, come talk to me, and we'll see if I can get something. In fact, one of the next set of parts that is going to be coming out pretty soon, it is a accent ring for... let's see here, cover tech knob. Yeah, accent ring for a cover tech knob. I'm getting ready to push some to test here pretty soon for that. I kind of put it off a little bit because I saw a target of opportunity, but I'm definitely going to start targeting this new endeavor. And then, if you guys weren't aware, the current round of emitters that are in production are also from you guys. I put it to a vote. Everybody had an opportunity to get their input in, and basically ended up taking it to down to four items. So it ended up being the Type 1 and Type 2 emitter tips, and then Type 1 and Type 2 emitter flanges, which I happen to have right here on the side of me. So as soon as I get done talking to you guys about the introduction space here, we'll relocate over here to the right, and I'll show you the parts that I got in hand. And to be honest with you, I'm not like super fond of it. I don't know why. but there's just something that's not right. It doesn't sit right to me, and I haven't figured out what it is. So I went ahead and pushed it through. I actually went ahead 2 days ago and moved it into production. So we're actually moving into the What's Happening segment of the show, and so what's happening in Corvus Saber Foundry space? Well, right now, the Friendsgiving, Black Friday, Small Business Saturday. I don't know what there is on Sunday, and then Cyber Monday. But I just figured I'd run it all through all 5 days. So 5 total days of discounts. 12% is the best I can give you guys. I price my parts pretty competitively to the rest of the market, and so a 10% discount is usually pushing it. And I give you guys a lot of those 10%. Everywhere. The best I could do this month, this cycle, was like a 12, and you guys responded pretty well with that. I'm extremely happy. Between this sale and the last sale, the Veterans Day / like end of October sale, I think that ran through the early part of November. November was like our banner month so far. Has been a banner month for me, and I'm really happy. I hope that we can keep the momentum up, because if we get the momentum going like this, the way that it is, it'll be really nice to be able to keep producing parts and have a little bit of extra scratch so that we can put aside for other bigger projects. Because right now, we basically just live project to project. And that's okay because I'm not making anything extra. I don't make any profit off any of this. It's all literally just reallocated back into the business. And so all of the parts that you get are all of you guys' proceeds to making something happen. So I'm having fun with it. It's a pretty fun, exciting experience, and it's been a blast to serve you guys the coolest parts that you can get for VHC. So there's that. Thanksgiving sale is still live until Monday at midnight. So if you have things that you want to pick up, I know that a lot of you have already purchased. I'm not pressuring you for anything else. But if you're new to the cast and you happen to see something that you like, snag it up, snag something up. There's a lot of options. And then going forward into the new year, got some new things that I'm working through. The website updates that we wanted or that I've been talking about are a little bit slow right now. It's harder to get those set up and get them in good standing really quick. At least for me, I'm just not that good at the website stuff. So there's some stuff that I got planned, some ideas, some concepts that I'm finishing up, and I think that we'll be launching kind of a new product type line. I've had it really kind of hush and secret, probably around like January or February timeframe, just around the time for Lunar New Year. So when the factory closes down, you'll kind of see this pop up, and it'll be something new and fun and interesting for everybody to play around with. Let's see here. If you were under a rock and not paying attention to Corvus Saber Foundry, which basically everybody in the community isn't, the parts release that we had. Thank you, I appreciate that. I like cooking things up. I don't know really that they're innovative, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Releasing things that we've never done before, that somebody hasn't done yet. Again, if you were living under a rock, there were some new releases that happened this month. Pulled out the Type 2 emitter tip and 2 Type 1 components, the females that were Type 1, or 1.1A and 1.1B, which were the straight and diamond knurled variants of the Type 1, with a little bit of extra twist in them. So I didn't make them exactly a 1, but it's definitely a cool set of parts. And I know that everybody was interested in them because the orders have been flying out of here at like 4 at a time. So I think that you guys like the small pieces in the ones, like the Type 1s or the Type 1.1s. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep making some of those small pieces, give you guys something interesting. I'm looking at like maybe the waffle type knurling, or another different type of knurling that's not the diamond type. There's another one I can't think of what it is right offhand, but it doesn't look exactly like the diamond. That's perfect. It looks kind of like overlapping rows of scales almost. I can't think of what it's called. It's like a helix type pattern. So maybe, waffle knurling is like what you see on like the Pixel grip, and so it's basically just not a hex. It's a crosshatch pattern type knurling. Basically, what you would see on a Cal Kestis. Yeah, like the Cal Kestis knurling. I don't think it's actually knurling type. It's more of a just a grip style. I guess we'll call it like you could call it the pixel. That's what Vire calls it. But it's basically just like a waffle type texture to it. And I haven't determined like what shape I want that waffling to look like. Whether it's trapezoidal shaped with a little bit of a valley to it, or like a vertical, like straight up and down vertical. We'll play around with some of the shapes. It's relatively simple and straightforward to mess with. But before we go too much further, I wanted to say that we got into production the flange type 2 and the emitter type 0, which I have over here. So I'll go ahead and shift the scene and we'll go and start looking at these parts. So what you got in front of you here is the type, this is the type 2. And so you can kind of see on the face of it there, we got some interesting, some interesting face details, which I think will look really, really cool with a lightsaber lighting it up. Really excited to see what that looks like. And then you can see the shape here. This is inspired by pommel, actually. This was called a palmeter. And so this was inspired by the Monarch by Vire here. And so you can kind of see they're kind of close, but they're not perfect. I didn't want to do an exact copy because I kind of liked how smooth these pieces looked together. So how smooth this flange looked together. And it has kind of the same type of bevel to it. Excuse me. Same type of bevel. They're kind of right at the tip or right at the end of it. And there's a bit of a recess in here. The normal 2 1/4 millimeter recess inside the top piece here is perfect to fit one of your adapters. You know, like a 30 millimeter adapter fits right in there. And so this becomes your normal male component. I also like that smooth angle, the smooth version. I'm a lot more partial to this flange. It looks a lot like a sear junta, although I will say that that style is a little bit longer. So normally it would be like, you know, probably this long with a bit more of a curve, a flatter curve to it. This one is pretty intense between here. So it looks really, really nice, and it's nice in the hand. It fits really well right there in the crook of your hand for like a emitter style grip, if you had one. And if I show you, I'm going to show you this here really quick. So you might remember some discussion about Guy Garage Machine. That was a dude that I had found locally that was supposed to be able to help me make some parts. And so I had a couple prototypes done from him. This is one of those prototypes, and I only have 2 of them. There's supposed to be at least 3 more floating around. I haven't talked to him yet. I need to reopen that dialogue, but you can kind of see another look here at this part. I really love this mini choke. It's one of my favorite pieces that I've designed and that I don't actually have a version of in hand. I need to turn the volume on this light down, the light intensity down just a little bit, so you can kind of see a bit more. It's pretty hard to see it, I think. Yeah, if you set it up in here with that, it looks really, really tight, nice and fresh. You slap one of these bad boys in here. You can get a accent ring up here on the top too. It's a really, really nice piece. I'm extremely pleased with the way that piece looks, and I think that I'm like, if there's any other parts that I want to throw straight into production, it would be these mini chokes. I think the male mini version of those chokes is a lot of fun. Is the inside the standard diameter? Yeah, the inside of those mini chokes is the standard diameter. It's all the way through. It works really well with a lot of different pieces too. You know, this is one of my favorite pieces. I think this is one of everybody's favorite pieces, the 1.1 ring. It looks really, really good. So I'm hoping that this is going to become a favorite. Hoping this is going to become a new favorite piece. I'm really excited about it. And I have I guess a Type 2 version of it that I'm going to build up. That's about this long. It'll be probably half again as long, and it'll be a longer run up on the side of that, so it'll look like a bigger flange. Excuse me, my voice is cracking. I guess I'm not done with puberty yet. So I'm really, really excited about getting this thing together. And then the other component, you might see it kind of over here off to the edge. Oh, nope, it was being covered up by something. This is the Type 0 emitter tip. And it's literally just the tiniest little thing. It is, I'm trying to get it into focus here. I don't have an autofocus on my camera. I guess I'm stuck doing this kind of thing, but it's literally like 5 or 5.5 millimeters, just enough to be able to get a set of threads in an M4 for this piece, and all of that in the hopes to give you a nice clean, really clean Obi-Wan type emitter section here. So you can kind of see the side view of what that looks like. I think that it looks really good. I also picked up, so the company that I work with, they manufactured this in error, but they picked up another one, and it might be kind of hard to see in the camera, but this has a little bit of a profile to it. I have my thumb in there so you can see some difference in it. There's a little bit of a profile from here to here, and it's about the same height. And this one was something that was supposed to capture like a Luke or a Obi-Wan. And again, to fit into one of these flanged emitters very nicely. Give just a little bit of a variance in the diameter there. But I'm not sure, I'm not 100% certain that I like it. It has a very small amount of threading in it for what it's supposed to do, which is hold blades in place. And so I'm not sure I really like it that much. I'm not sure I like it enough to continue that path unless I revise that drawing just a little bit. It's going to have to expand a little bit upwards and outwards to make it look really nice and be functional most of all. And I think that it looks pretty good in here too. This is the Type 1. And so it has like a little profile and a flange down there, and I think it comes through really nicely. Pretty happy with it. Still just needs a little bit of an adjustment, I think. But yeah, I guess the future of this is I've been looking at the other emitter flanges, and there's a bunch of them that I'd like to get manufactured here pretty soon, probably sooner rather than later. But the thing that I've been working on trying to get pushed, and I've been pushing this for a long time. I've been trying to get it done for a while. Is the MPP. I really want to have like a Vader MPP style emitter shroud, and it's been really hard to get one. And the last week I opened it up to my production team, and they basically told me that it was gonna be twice or three times as much as twice as expensive as it was previously. And so that was kind of irksome because I've gotten a quote on it before, and it should have been a little bit lower. So I just asked them the question and said, hey, you guys quoted me this previously. I'd really like to get another quote, or, I'd really like to get another opinion on it, because I think that you guys just arbitrarily raised the price. But to be honest with you, like, a lot has happened since that came out. It's like almost a year since that original quote. So like, prices of manufacturing has gone up, prices on materials have gone up, like all those things have changed. So if that's the case, then we'll just shelve it, but it was a lot more expensive than what I wanted to throw it out. I think that's basically it. Those new parts are into production right now. They just went this week. They're going to start probably on Monday, and then we'll see them by probably Christmas timeframe. And so we'll have the launch then. And my hope is one of these other parts that I'm working on, I've already confirmed with my manufacturer that I can do small runs, but I can't do small runs with samples at a good price. And so I have to make this kind of command decision here and kind of decide whether I want to run the mini chokes, without a sample. And it's kind of a gamble, man, like really a gamble. I'm like super concerned. I don't know, like trepidation, like nervous about sending off to have parts made and not getting samples to be able to look at them. Feels really sketchy. But I guess people do it, or businesses do it. It's just really nerve-wracking because the resources that we have are so limited. But the real purpose tonight, we wanted to do a Let's Design segment, and I wanted to give myself enough time. I got about 40 minutes left in the cast, so this should be plenty of time. I kind of hinted at playing around with something like this in the cast. I'm going to shrink my face just a little bit. I've kind of hinted around at playing with something like this in the Discord, which is a control box. I really like the Canon Y control box. I think that it looks super cool. It has a nice shape to it, and it's interesting enough that it could be something that we could have. And so, we had a lot of conversations in the Discord, and I think that there's interest in having some sort of interchangeable or like modular control box. And for me, a modular control box is super cool, but it also, I think, warrants its own Switch segment to be able to do something like that. Because like right now, the current convention is we have a sleeve that goes over our Switch, and we screw that in some fashion. So what do we do to make it a more permanent fixture so that it doesn't feel like it's slapped on or just slid over or is attached to? There are a lot of control box options that are out there now. I think one of them that I really, really like is like Great Lakes Sabers. They have a really nice like control box set or suite, I guess. And they come in a couple of different sizes. This is a small, I think 1.5 inch. It ends up being like 30 or 40, 37 millimeters, which is only about like 1.5 inches. 38 is 1.5, 38.1, 38 and change is like 1.5 inches. And so this is pretty close, and it's designed to fit. That gap there is for fitting one of the current Switch, like the PCB like Switch covers to go on this. And so I actually have a couple of parts here, and I made some hints about what I wanted to do, like objective-wise, in the next year, to kind of move like not VHC, but Alloy, like ahead on certain things. And one of those things is to try and eliminate the AV switch. I'm not a huge fan of the AV switch. I think that for me, it removes some of the verisimilitude, but I understand how versatile the switch is. I get it. It's convenient. It works. It's now an industry standard. It has been for a long, long time. But the way that the cores are constructed now, you can actually hide. I've done it on several other Sabers that I've got. I've hidden that AV switch underneath of a plunger, like just a button specific plunger. And I made a switch specifically for this purpose, which is this switch. And I haven't redesigned it yet. It has a 5mm internal. I made it 6 millimeters. It's got a 6mm buttonhole, basically a plunger hole. And so inside there's this, this says a TPU switch plunger, but it's actually supposed to be, it could be anything. It could be brass. I had an idea to turn it in aluminum, to turn it in brass, to turn it in bronze, and even like a plastic or something like a TPU, like a soft plastic. And so there's, inside of here, you can see there's kind of a set of like a shape or like a depression. I don't want to say depression. It's a recess inside of this. Sorry, I got stuff in my eyes. I was out blowing snow all day, and my eyes are bugging me. But anyways, this piece can be made in a variety of different materials to affect whatever style that you want. And it basically just would slide inside of this space and be available. I think I downsized that already to 4 millimeters because I was faffing about what I was going to do with this, because I had an idea specifically for this. And so this plunger, will basically just fit into this space. I got a couple of other ideas in there about how to manipulate some more of the other pieces, like the conventional switch space that we're working in. But basically, this plunger would connect here. This plunger would go in here, and then the core would slide in. So essentially, you'd have to assemble this kind of upside down with the button facing downward. You plug it in here and then slide your core in and lock it in place. And once the core locks in place, it would butt up against this button and allow you to activate it with the switch on the exterior, which I think is really cool. I like it. It's pretty neat. And also this button being that I change it to 4mm will fit inside of a shroud. And so this set of shrouds that I have, you can slap a shield shroud or something over top of it, and you would have access to that button. And so depending on how you decided to attach it, you could use, I saw a guy in a different place use oh my gosh, double-sided tape to attach a shroud. You can use E6000 or some kind of adhesive to attach the shroud. But basically you'd be able to make your own kind of button shrouds that are literally shrouds over top of all these things, and you know, shuffle it back and forth and do whatever you wanted to with it in that space. And so I'm trying to find things that work within Alloy to achieve this. And so the thought process that had come up in the Discord was like, how do we make a dedicated switch system, right? A modular switch system. And someone had proffered an idea where you would make a sleeve that was variable, that you could move things around and shuffle things back and forth. Pardon, I gotta take a drink. All right, I'm back. To make a modular type of control box system that would allow you to swap things in and out. Now, admittedly, there are control box systems on the market now that do all of the things that we're talking about. And so it literally just me be reinventing the wheel. I don't know that I want to do that necessarily, but I do like the idea of having something that can be positioned relatively easily. And so maybe that warrants a redesign for like a switch section to achieve something similar to what we're talking about. But you could just clock a switch and put it into place. It's not really that big a deal, I think. But we can play around with some stuff and see what comes out, what sticks to the wall, and just have some experimentation and see what happens. So let me go ahead and like get this cleared out of here. I don't want that. Don't save that. And don't save. And you know, if you're interested in this Canon Y type, it's a basic Canon Y. It doesn't have like all the greeblies and things on the side of it. I tried making a couple of versions of it with that, and it just kind of felt clunky. So I decided to just nix it altogether and keep it off. At some point in the future, maybe I'll make one. It's what that is basically a like lever that sits on one side or the other. It's contained by a set of like dog ears, or not dog ears, but like ears and like a clevis, and that piece kind of just rotates or like pivots back and forth on that to release whatever this clamp thing was attached to. I don't know what it is. Forgive me, my Star Wars lore is bad, but I don't know in the real world what it is. I don't know what it releases from that spot. So either way, I didn't get a chance to explain the rest of this. You kind of see two screw holes back here. This was meant to contain some pieces here. So let me get back to my Greebly section, and I'll show you what that is. And so this piece is the lock. This is the PCB lock. It would fit against here and hold the PCB in place, so it can't come out. And then the only other thing that we would need to do is make some spring shape or something inside of here that would allow it, or use the spring shape or spring pressure from the switch to do the thing that it's supposed to do. And so essentially it just locks it into place. I can probably come up with a little bit better design for this little guy here, but it doesn't look terrible and it fits pretty okay. And it would take two like M3 screws to fit here, and you would have a locked up switch section kind of thing. So not a terrible idea, but it could use some refinement. And I chose to do this normal kind of mounting shroud, the shroud mount, in order to allow it to get attached to a thing. So specifically, it would be like I would like to attach this to one of my switch sections, specifically the one that I just showed you, because it would allow you access to that, basically allow you access to that pin, and you can make pins in different heights. You could have them 3D manufactured to fit this, so that would interface with the clamp, and then you would adjust with the back screw instead of multiple screws doing all over the place stuff. You just do the back screw, push it up tight, and then you would be able to actuate it whichever way. And then these other two pieces would be alternate mounting methods. And so you could knock the center out of this if you wanted to, and then use these 4 holes on the side to put in M3 screws if you were brave enough to do that yourself. It's just a guide to help you out in getting it drilled and marked to where you want it to go. I like the style, I like the look of it, and I might think about like rounding this just a little bit. I was kind of playing around with the idea of like giving that like a little bit of a round or something. It's kind of goofy. It's kind of goofy looking, but I don't like the sharp edges on my hands. It kind of feels uncomfortable. I don't think the customers like the sharp edges on their hands either. But let's try building some fun stuff here. Let's play around with the idea that we had. So we already have adapters. We already have adapters for building. We already have adapters for building this idea that we have. If all of our parts are female, all of our body parts are female excuse me, my brain's not working. If all of our parts are conventionally female, if we built a adapter for a clamp card, or excuse me, for a control box, we could theoretically use male adapters as the end pieces to tie all the stuff together, and probably in like the 33 millimeter or 31.5 millimeter range to be able to do the thing. And so ideally we could, build something like a standard switch section. Let's go a 30, let's take it to 30, 1.5. The only downfall with doing it this way is you kind of lose out on, I think that you kind of lose out on some options when it comes to using what kind of adapter goes in this. So like I'm going to make this as a female part, and I'm going to use adapters to hold this accent sleeve basically in. And that way you can kind of move that sleeve around. I don't know. We'll play around with it. I'll try and talk my way through this. This is the first time I've done any sort of like really heavy engineering on an idea like this, like in this chat. Most of the things are pretty simple and not like a lot of like heavy lift, and my brain isn't fully there tonight. So we'll just we'll drop this at 38. That's 31.5 by 38, and we'll punch a hole through the center of it, which is the 25.6. And we're going to use this as our central sleeve, right? We want to use a design that is kind of stable for putting a sleeve on it that would allow me to do a universal application. Whoops, that's not the way I wanted that to go. I want it to go -7. Okay. And this might be just over engineering it or overthinking it. Really, honestly, like this is literally reinventing the wheel. There are tons and tons of examples of switch boxes that just slap on the outside of something. So this is just a mental exercise to see what's possible or what we can do. That again went the wrong way because I'm not paying attention. -7. That should have been -14. Nope, that's not the one I wanted either. Try it again. Why did that? Oh, it's a join. That's why. -7. -7 millimeters. Beep. Okay, so we can use this here for, let's see here, canonicity. Most of our lightsaber sleeves are like 1.5 inches, so it's like 38 millimeters, which is quite large. It's actually a pretty good size compared to like what our current lightsaber is. So what we want to do is probably catch a measurement here. I have a Vire, and I just want to double check it. Yeah, they're at 36, which is pretty darn close. But I think that our Let's see here. Our accent rings and accent shrouds are all 36.15. We could probably get away with taking it out to 37 just to see what it's going to do, like see how big it's going to get. So we'll try that. We'll do that again. We'll drop a 31.55. And okay, I see that again. And we'll do another. I probably should have drew another circle here. Let's take it out to 36.5. It's just a little bit bigger than where we were previously. And now we have an external sleeve that will go out to 38. Okay. Man, that's irritating. Why did I do that? Let's go negative 38. So you can see we have just a tiny little gap there. I made it essentially like a quarter of a millimeter. It's like half or a quarter of a millimeter in total difference. And so if we put on a thread here, we will play around with something really quick, and I want to see what it looks like. Don't need the thread, but I want to make sure that you can see it because that thread is going to be a good indicator of where it's going to sit when we pull in our component to lock it in. So again, this is at 31.5. I'm not super fond of it being there because I think that that's going to limit some options for us, but let's see here. I want that modeled. Okay. Really, it only gives us one option to use at this point, which is the 33 millimeter accent, or not accent, the 33 millimeter adapter. If I can find it, 33 millimeter adapters, alloy adapters. If they're just in my face with the same name that I use every single time. All right. So here's the 2.25 at 33 millimeters. So this is a thought process that I had for this item, was to use the length that we have and capture that sleeve with this accent ring, or not accent ring, excuse me, with this adapter. And so you basically put two adapters on here, and that would sandwich it down, and you would be able to do that on both ends. It would lock it in place, and then you would not have to have an external type of screw. It would just be held in place by the friction of these two parts. I don't know that that really works that well. I think that it probably still needs a screw of some sort, or some sort of locking mechanism that gets added to this that allows you to really crank down on it. So either extend this out a 0.5 millimeter so that it impinges on it correctly and locks both of them in place, and something to center it. It might just need an extension and a chamfer. If you notice, on this adapter, it has a chamfer on it. So it has like a 0.15 millimeter chamfer, just a tiny little thing, I think. Let me double check it really fast. I think it is. Yeah. It's a 0.15 millimeter chamfer. So what you could do is put a chamfer on here, but that would limit us to just using it with this one size. So it can't really lock it in using that one piece. And I can add a component onto this really fast and show you kind of what the size differential was going to be on this. I think that we ran that to 36.5. Yeah. If this is going to be used with an Obi-Wan, let me make sure I get the Obi-Wan out, right? Let me get the Obi-Wan GG out. So you kind of see that there would be just a little tiny bit of extra diameter on that. That would give you the look that you would normally see from a typical like Obi-Wan Kenobi styled piece, but the length on it is just not quite. It's not quite to scale for VHC. So I'd have to do a little bit of playing around with it to make it just a little bit longer to be able to get that size. But still, you would end up with a pretty thick section down here for your switch box. Let's see if I can draw a switch box. Whoops. So yeah, again, what I was saying, not trying to like reinvent the wheel too much on this. Really, honestly, the way that the current market has my current competitors have a switch box setup is actually not terrible. It works. It has a variety of different ways to connect it, and I think that there might be maybe a better method to it, but I'm not seeing it right now. I have to do a little bit more play, probably, to come up with it. But we can keep exploring this here really quick and see what comes out really fast. Let's see. Accent. Oh, what are my accents? It might not even need to be this this big. We could probably draw that down just a little bit. Let's bring it from 36.5 down to where we normally have our accent bands and accent rings. That's a little bit closer to what we want, right? Maybe we could treat it like an accent ring. And basically allow you to position it anywhere. But the problem is you can't really position it anywhere. Like you're still kind of stuck. You're still kind of stuck with it being in a place. It has to be in a place if you're going to use it functionally, like for a button, right? So like if I were to sleeve this and trap it, you would still need to sleeve it and trap it in a way that it would fit between a button. It still needs to have a button, like some sort of access point for a button if you want it to be a functional control box. If you don't want a functional control box, it's not really a problem. You can just kind of slap it wherever you want to. But the real, I think the real like interesting piece of this is going to be, how do I make a modular control box? How do I make something that is modular and will work in a modular fashion? So how can I change these boxes? How can I change a box out and do something more interesting with it? So I'm still kind of thinking about an idea that I had here to capture some like low, what's the word I'm looking for? Like high tolerance or low tolerance. That's not the right one either. Sorry, my voice is starting to fail today. I was hollering at my kids outside in the snow. All right, so it occurred to me that there might be an idea to do something with like what I call a fir tree or like a T-slot of some sort. And so the idea here is if you built your T-slot low enough in here, you would be able to trap whatever this part is that's on here with a T-slot. So this might be like the thing that we were talking about, right? Let's do a little T-slot. Let me get this crap out of here, get that off of there, and let's do this. This is the thought process that I had the other day that I was trying to explain and it didn't quite come to me. And so I want to make sure that I draw this at 4 millimeters wide. Okay, so there's that. Let's do this. 4 millimeters wide. There's 2. There's 2. So the reason I want this slot at 4, actually I need the slot even wider than that. I need it to be at least 5. The reason I want it at 4 is because my current switch setup with that plunger. Sorry, I had a lot of things counting against me. Not only was I hollering at my kids, but earlier this week I had a throat soreness that was bugging me because of the weather and allergies and everything. So it's all just kind of culminating. I might just do doodles with music in the future so you guys don't have to hear me talk. The reason I want it at 5 is because my slot is at 4 to fit my plunger. So if I want to use that plunger or other plungers, I need to be able to functionally use that slot the same way. So I need to have a place for it to fit. I need to make sure that I have that margin adjusted for on the part that's going to be going on. So let's do this. I'm going to draw this down, and I want to put a T-slot on here, and I want that thing getting in the way. I want this thing getting in my way. Yeah, it's okay, dude. No worries. You're good. You are good. Okay, so this is what I wanted to look at. This was the thing. So I want to put a T-slot on this guy, and here's the reason why. We're going to slot this, and I was not paying attention to how much I did on that. So the outer diameter on that was, let's see, 36.15er, and I dropped that down. How many millimeters? 3 millimeters by 1 by 1 by 7. Okay. All right, cool. And we're gonna go draw on another thing here really quick because we gotta do a play around. So, anyways, I'm gonna cut this slot really fast, and you're gonna see there's a technicality here, and we'll see it here in just a second. If I cut this right. If I cut this thing right and I leave enough of a slot on the back end, I can actually secure this with one part, right? So you'd be able to slot a thing into here, right? Like whatever part I'm going to make for you in just a minute, slot that thing in, and then you can lock that piece into place, whatever that piece was, using this band, like using one of the adapters. So give me a second. We're going to make this part really fast that we were just talking about. Let's see if I can mentally construct this again. 3615. I need a let's do a circle here. Another one, 36.20. I need to go from that line down. See, 2 millimeters. I just need to be able to see where that was going to be at, right? Need to catch that right there. Let's see, and we have to account for that 0.5 too. So that was 3. Oh my gosh, my brain stopped working. I think that maybe I can do it on this other item here. This is where me not being an engineer comes into play because I don't do these good things. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. I could build a block off to the side here and extrude this through it and create the cut that I want it to do instead of trying to recreate the cut with something else. Or I could just recreate this as a, let's see here. Trying to find a way to recreate that as a cut. Let me look here. Yeah. Let's do this. I'm going to take that last piece away. We're just going to do this normal way here. We did 2. We did 2. And 3. Cut it out. Excuse me. All right. We're going to... Perfect. That worked. Kind of a backwards way of doing it. I could have done it a better way, but this is what we wanted to get to. So we'll take this back to 30. Let's see here. Let's see how far this is. Yeah, we did that kind of in a backwards way, but that's okay. If there's one thing that I learned about Fusion 360, it's that even if you do something the right way, there's about 300 other ways that you can get to the same output that you want in just a weird way. Apparently, I cannot see the face distance from one to the other. All right, 28 millimeters. That's okay. We'll save this as a T slot. And we're going to put that in the Greeblies section. Let's see. T slot test. This is where all the guys that do all the design work are going to make fun of me because I suck at this stuff. Okay. So here's what I was trying to get to and show you guys what I was working on. Ron, you were the one who said you wanted to see this one anyway because we were talking about this stuff. Jeez. It's okay, dude. No worries. You're good. This might go a little bit longer because I want to finish up trying to play around with this thing. I keep losing what I was looking for. I've got too many plans, too many projects going on. All right, so we got the T-slot test. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So in this scenario, I have this T-slot that is... Hate's a strong word, Joseph. We don't use that word. I just don't like them. For me, they break verisimilitude, but again, I've explained how they are ubiquitous. They're everywhere. I just would like a different look, and I think something that's more professional and more in line with what my vision of what alloy is supposed to be. And so I'll circle back and I'll show you what I was talking about in just a little bit. If my voice will hold. But anyways, this is what I wanted to show. And so I was kind of talking to Ron and explaining a couple of things to him, and we've gone back and forth about what this idea would look like. And so you have to imagine that there's going to be another piece on top of this, right? And so that piece would mirror this outer diameter here. And so you would slot in a new component or whatever your component is. I think I missized that. Yeah, I think I sized that wrong. It just needs to be 1 millimeter wider. But anyways, you would basically add your accent box or your control box to the top of this, and it would have a matching radius underneath here on the bottom side of it. They would allow it to slot into this place and allow you to do work. Now the hang up here is that I don't know exactly, I don't think that it's possible to do it that way because you would have this inverse or like concave, this concave space on this side. So this would actually probably have to be in 4 components, which is too many components in my opinion. But basically you would have this slot, this T-track, which would be producible as its own part, and you would use that to attach any of the other components on top of it. This actually might be the way we make this modular. So on this T-track, we would use this and put, basically drill some holes in this, like slots for this, to be able to mount either M3s or M4s in it. It's 5 millimeters wide, and M4 would need to be a little bit wider for that slot to work. And so you could drill that from the backside, put in that actually might be the trick right there. We just reasoned through how to make this work. Excuse me. Yeah, my voice is wrecked right now. Okay, we were just talking about it, and maybe just logic through this. This might be the fix to do a bunch of different ones, depending on what size we want to get to. So like if there are other accent boxes or control boxes out there that are around like 36 or something, or 38, this might be a way to be able to get us to that point. Make a control sleeve that uses a slot that locks into place with adapters, and then use this T-track to mount them. Uh, and so what I'll do is I'll just plot out an idea here. This is not wide enough, so this actually has to be wider. 6.3 or 6.7 is the width. Let's see. Let me just double check really fast. So 7.6 is the width. 7.6 is the width that we need to have to be able to mount a cap screw inside of this. So it needs a little bit of play. But if you could imagine having a M4, let me do this here. And we'll put another one here. So if you could imagine having an M4 push through, we'll have to expand that some more. That's fine. Imagine having like M4s mounted through there. They go up to your control box. They will hold it in place from the backside, and when you slot this into your accent sleeve, this, I need to open that up, unground, and move it. Imagine this is longer. It would fit into that sleeve and ground itself on the back over there, and then we would utilize a adapter, a male adapter, to lock it into place. We can't use a 30 because this needs to be at least a 31.5. Actually, it needs to be a 33. You would not be able to not use anything but a 33. Yeah. So this T-slot, just capture the stupid position and move it. I want to move the body. I would like to move the body. Man, that guy was funny. Okay, so there you would have it. I'm not super fond of what that looks like. I kind of think it's not super nice, in my opinion. It could be better. But you kind of have to use some imagination here. Essentially, this slot would facilitate you being able to mount a variety of different control boxes to the item, and then this would basically, in effect, become a custom switch box. A custom switch box that then you could place, anywhere on your Saber to affect a switch box. Period. Somewhere in some shape or form. And we can massage this in different ways to make it longer or shorter. Phrasing, I guess, on that, because I guess that's something that happens. Just kidding. But yeah, this I think that there's some merit here. I think that it has an idea that we could kind of scratch an itch. And if we played the cards right, I think you could potentially make a box that has an overhang on the backside that would cover up that T-track slot, and it would allow it to slide in and out. Again, this is kind of an over-engineering of a thought process to make something modular out of something that's not modular, or I should say something that's already pretty modular, and that you can just slap a switch box onto something. And so really, I'm not trying to over-engineer it. I'm just playing around with ideas or thoughts to get to something like that. So we kind of played with the idea of having adapters kind of hold this in place. This would take two adapters of the 33 millimeter persuasion, one on either end, to hold this, and your this slot test would be what would be holding the switch box in place. So like ultimately you end up having like a modular system that's like 5 parts deep, It's a little bit too much, in my opinion. This piece would come off, and you would have your underbox or your under sleeve, which would be the place where your switches would be housed. And it would have all the switch components to it. Man, I cannot hang on much longer. My voice is done. Um, so this was just kind of an exploration of this idea. Again, I'll go back to Joe's question. Joe wanted to know about how I was going to move away from switches, specifically how I was going to go away from the AV switch. I'm not leaving the AV switch necessarily, but I like the idea of offering an option that allows you to conceal an AV switch. I've always been a fan of covering things up. And so I modeled a switch section that does just that. It allows you to put the AV switch basically up against the interior, like the inside of the part. And then use a plunger like this to actuate it. Whoops. So this has been resized for 4mm, which is what I was planning on going to anyway. I've already showed Amber's this before, and you guys can go back and revisit it. But you could put a shroud, a normal shroud, one of my normal emitter shrouds over top of this, and you would be able to get access to your switch. So basically that's the idea. It's just recessed a little bit inside there. Your core component fits inside of here. The back screw pushes it up against it, and then you'll be able to actuate it and do the thing. Excuse me. Yeah, I think that's going to be the night. Unfortunately, my voice is starting to fail me, and my throat is giving me fits. So we're going to go ahead and end this. It has been torture to have to deal with that the whole time. That's the idea. This was, again, the 2.1. This has been the Corvus Cast, and I want to thank all of you guys, not just for joining me for the Corvus Cast, but also for all of your contributions the last month or so. Oh, that's it, dude. We gotta go. Yeah, for joining me the last month or so. It's meant a lot, and you guys have delivered for me like the best month that we've had on record. So it sounds like I'm getting choked up. I just actually can't talk. Something in the air is killing me right now, and I don't know what it is. And so I want to thank you for joining me for the Corvus Cast. Also, thank you for your efforts and your financial contributions to this endeavor in making VHC awesome, awesomer than it already was. I'm going to go ahead and punch out before I lose my voice. I think I'm done. My name's Tim. This has been the Corvus Cast. I'm out. I'll see you guys later. Cookout!